The following is a mechanically reproduced announcement previously recorded from a live scheduled program on WGOG Digital Broadcasting. This is not a live broadcast. All guests, callers, and hosts granted permission to be recorded. Thank you for listening.
Warning, this radio program has been rated R for ridiculous. All listeners must be accompanied by their spirit guides.
You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio.
This is Lisa Williams, and you're listening to Haunted Voices Radio with Todd Bates.
This is paranormal researcher Gavin Goska, and you're listening to Haunted Voices Radio on the Haunted Voices Radio Network.
This is Joshua P. Warren with Speaking of Strange, and you are listening to none other than Todd Bates on Haunted Voices Radio.
This is Matthew Schultz from Para Explorer Project aboard the Haunted Queen Mary. Leave your closed mind at the door. You have entered Paranormally Entertaining Radio. Haunted Voices with Todd Bates and Phil Roll.
Symptoms of regular listening include developing a succubus complex, if male, loose bowels in high EMF environments, daytime old hag syndrome, throwing objects back at poltergeists, visitations from dead relatives collecting outstanding debts, unwanted or wanted sexual advances from unseen hands, volunteering for alien anal probing. Consult your physician before starting any paranormal program.
Welcome to Haunted Voices Radio. Haunted Voices Radio brings you education, comedy, and information from top instructors, authors, and performers in the field of the paranormal. Join Todd and Phil each week to discover tricks of the trade that will help you to develop your craft and prosper as a paranormal investigator. It has never been easier to listen and interact from the privacy of your own home. This is truly a program you won't find anywhere else. Now, here are the hosts of Haunted Voices Radio, Todd Bates and Phil Roll.
From the land beyond, from the world past hope and fear.
And a good evening, one and all. My goodness. Haunted Voices Radio is back live on this beautiful January 10th, 2017. Happy New Year, folks. Yeah, we've been waiting a little while here. Filibuster and I got a few things to chat here with you. But first, got to let you know of an awesome show we got coming up. Different format. Those of you that were invited to the test show may have a little insight about it, but what we're doing, something a little different. We're switching things up a little for you fine folks. A couple guests per show. Instead of one long, drawn-out show, we're going to have different viewpoints, like tonight. We're going to have returning guest, of course, Matthew Schultz, Para Explorer Project, followed by the lovely and talented Nicole Strickland, and in the second hour, the one and only Joshua P. Warren is going to be catching Phil and I up on some things happening in the paranormal field. Well, we've been out of whack here a little bit. But I got to tell you what, it's still fun. Filibuster, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too, and everybody else. It's been a while.
What do you think? You ready for this?
Yeah, probably.
You know, we had a little breather. You were doing this thing over in Africa for years. I'm glad you're back. Welcome back. You know, I mean, it was, you went on hiatus there. You taught them how to play ball, how to grow some crops and things. You did a lot of great things for those people over there. So, Phil, I've got to... Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I had some fun. I met a chimpanzee named Caesar.
Yeah.
And we revolted and killed a lot of the humans.
The chimpanzee, was it the kind of chimp that kind of gets cranky and starts throwing its own doo-doo everywhere?
Yeah, he taught me how to do that.
Oh.
That's fun.
Oh, you got a new skill on the way back. You know, you can't beat that. Yeah.
Eat a lot of bananas.
You get back what you give out, Phil.
Yeah. Eat a lot of bananas, and you're all loaded up, man. Well,
I got to say one thing. What it is, I mean, we're already having a little technical glitch. I'm here. There's a little echo issue going on here. I have no idea what it is. It'll work itself out. If it doesn't, well, we'll figure it out. Let us know in chat, folks. Join us there. HauntedVoices.com. Chat is open. It's a new chat, Rumble Talk. You can log in through Facebook, Twitter, as a guest, however you want to get in there. Just be interactive. Have fun with the folks in there. Upload some pictures. Tell everybody hello. Meet some new peeps. Now, with this, Phil, this new show, we've got all kinds of fun things here planned. We've got a great producer, Beverly Rearick. I've got it. She's amazing. She's keeping you and I in check as well. Finding us some great guests, your suggestions. We are accepting those, by the way. Get her some guest suggestions if any of you want to be on the program. Email her, producer@hauntedvoices.com. She'll gladly respond with you here, get your book, get you scheduled, all the fun stuff, because we're accepting different guests, all different kinds of topics this time, Phil. We're doing just pretty much anything strange, bizarre, right?
Right. It's going to be a little bit of everything. So, like Todd said, yeah, talk to Beverly, email her about anything you want to talk about, and we'll see what we can do.
That's kind of the name of the game. Shoot Bev a quick email, producer at hauntedvoices.com. And let me know there. You find folks there in chat that have logged in there. Welcome aboard. Let us know if you're hearing any kind of echoing issues so we can fix that, because obviously I can't hear it, Phil can't hear it, but I'm getting word from the hottie grapevine that there's some kind of echo issue. So let us know. New station, by the way, too, Phil, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Those of you that were invited to the test show, you know all about it. It's something Arielle and I started. It's our own station. We love it. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. We've got some great shows on there. Her program's on there Monday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. Of course, we've got the Just Rita Show on Thursdays, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Haunted Voices, Tuesdays, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. We got some new programs coming, like Paranormal Mojo. That's going to be coming at you on Wednesday night, starting in February. Just a handful of them, Phil. I'm not getting burned out this time, Chief. It ain't happening. This is all for fun. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the thing the last time. It was a good time then, but it all moved so fast and everything that it just burned people out. Nobody could keep up with it.
No.
This time we've learned, and we're going to take our time and just have fun.
It was crazy. We've got to have fun with something like this. That's the way it is. I mean, our first guest coming in here 20 minutes past the hour. We're going to be getting on, of course, returning guests, Explorer Project. Matthew Schultz going to be joining us, bringing us up to speed on a few things out there. I think he's going to play some creepy audio for us, too, Phil. We haven't heard that in a while.
Oh, good. Oh, Matt and I, yeah, all these years, he still sends me his EVP files, and I'll listen to them and put them on the old Adobe Audition and check them out, give him my opinion, what I think. So, Matt and I have a good time. He's kept me going with the EVP because, boy, we're both EVP fanatics.
Yeah. Electronic voice phenomenon. That's kind of how the show started. Those of you that are listening for the first time, that's where Haunted Voices Radio came about, was back in the day, teaching lessons, things like that. Boy, has things changed over the years. A lot of cool things. And you know what, Phil? You and I we've been apart for a little while here.
Yeah.
You wanna do a little test to see how well we know each other?
Okay, sounds good to me.
What do you think? I'll tell you what. I'm going to read something off. This is a little game we're going to play. Don't worry, folks. It's completely unprofessional. But it's a lot of fun. It's a little game we're going to play. It's fact or fiction. Now, I'm going to read some things about Phil, and he's going to read some things about me. Now, we have to guess, see how well we know each other, if it's fact or fiction. You guys play along in chat, hauntedvoices.com. Jump in there. Just click live chat. Boom. Log in. You're in there. Don't be lazy. Get in there. Have fun with this. You guys can guess, too, if it's fact or fiction. Some of these, I don't know, Phil. I mean, I'm going to be honest.
I was just going to say, yeah, the people in the chat room, they can pop right in and guess if they think it's true or false.
All right.
make it a group effort here.
So what I'm going to do before we go to break, we still have our normal break schedule here, folks. Don't even sweat it. We're not even going to mention that word anymore because it doesn't exist. So the fun thing with this, I'm going to read some of these, and you guess if they're fact or fiction. Deal?
Yep.
Okay. All right, Phil.
That's what we're going to do here.
Are you ready? All right. You go first.
Okay, let's see. I may not go in order, but we'll just pick one here. Let's see. Hurting for money. Am I supposed to? Wait a minute.
No, you're supposed to read yours.
I'm supposed to read mine.
Read yours.
Okay,
I got to guess if it's.
Then,
I got to guess if it's real or fake. See, folks. It's.
Okay.
It's already going off with a bang. I'm professional. That's how we roll.
A little rusty here. Okay. In my 20s, some friends and I streaked naked down the street we lived on.
That's fact. That's Phil. That's fact. Correct?
Yes.
That's fact. It has to be.
Yeah, we did.
That has to be. All right, hit me with another one.
And I did it one time, and later on I was out, and a neighbor said, the other night I heard some noise, and I saw a bunch of people naked running down the street, and they ran like over toward your house. And I said, oh yeah, I think I heard some people run through my yard. And it's like, that was the end of that. Never did it again. I was 22 or something,
And no one would guess that.
No, because that's not like me to do.
No, it's not in your personality, but yet it is.
I was pushed by, bad people, bad friends.
For those that know you, know that that's in your personality. Okay, hit another one.
Well, believe me, nowadays the way I look, nobody sees me naked, not even my wife.
Oh, God. Oh.
I don't even like looking at myself in the mirror.
No,
I cry.
Yeah, that's awful. Yeah, hit me with another one, Phil.
Okay. Let's see here. I ruptured a disc in my back trying to lift the back wheels of my boss's Volkswagen off the ground.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think that is fact.
Damn, you're good.
Is that really fact? Because that is just... Folks, you have to understand Phil and his personality. Don't let this demeanor fool you. This guy's a freaking animal. He's a machine. Don't let him fool you. He does weird stuff like that.
He had this little Volkswagen truck, and we would go out at break time, me and a bunch of guys, and somebody came up with the idea if we could lift that up, and I did it. And probably a month later, I started getting pain down my legs and everything, and turned out I ruptured a disc in my back.
Oh.
Had to have surgery and everything.
Yeah, that's ooh. All right, hit me with another one.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to keep this rolling.
Todd warned me about what a colon blow is before I went into a park restroom, and I found out.
Colon blow. Now, we had a full length special on we had the colon blow special there. It was after our necrophilia episode. It was an amazing program. I remember you learned a lot from it. But that's fact. That has to be.
Damn.
And the reason being because you and Diane travel a lot, and I know you go in a lot of public restrooms and things like that. And you witnessed your first colon blow. Phenomenal.
But do you remember where that was?
No.
We came down there the first time we ever came down, and we investigated the Pantheon Theater.
Oh.
And remember we had the barbecue in that park?
Oh, yeah.
I went to go to the bathroom, and you said, I'll warn you, that last stall, somebody had a colon blow. Don't go near.
Yeah.
And I got curious, and I looked. And
curious.
It's lucky I ate before I saw that.
But, it's good. It's good. All right, one more, and we're going to switch.
Okay.
We got to break. We got to skip away.
Let's see here. Oh, one day at work, I took some trash out to the dumpster, and when I reached in to throw it in, a raccoon that was apparently in there looking for food lunged out and bit my arm, and I had to get rabies shots.
That's got to be fact, too, because only you would run into something like that. You get 20 in the stomach?
I gotcha. So, that's false.
That's false? You weren't attacked by a raccoon?
No, never. I got you finally.
All right. You definitely hit me with that. Okay. All right, we're going to switch some gears here. Here we go. Here's some facts about me here. Okay. Todd obtained his pilot's license in 2013 and enjoys flying his rented Cessna aircraft.
That's hard because we weren't really talking to each other that much during then.
Hence the year.
But I don't see it. I'm saying false.
All right, you're right. No, there's no way on God's green earth anybody would ever let me fly an airplane. Okay. Todd once ran into a furniture store and attempted to get away with only 3 wheels.
That's a hard one.
Oh, it's actually quite easy if you watch the news.
Only 3 wheels. I'm confused on this. I'm going to say false.
No, that's incorrect. I actually did hit a furniture store and attempt to get away on 3 wheels. I was stuck in a mud puddle. That was back in 1999. It's okay. No one was injured.
Well, that's good.
Okay. Now, this one here, I'm pretty proud of this one. Hurting for money, Todd once attempted to rob a sperm bank only to realize it was not a financial institution and then quickly made a deposit for a quick $75 cash.
I'm going to say that's false.
Yeah. That sounded good, though, right?
But it sounds like something you would do.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Okay.
Like knocking all the soup cans down in the store, rolling down the aisle. I know you like doing that.
Of course.
So see that one, yeah. I didn't think it was true, but I could see you doing something crazy like that.
Yeah, no comment. This final one here. Todd graduated broadcasting school at the top of his class in 2014.
That, I think, is true.
Yeah, that is fact. And, there's a few more of these. But I think what we learned, Phil, is even though you and I have been apart, the show's been put to bed, we still know each other a little bit.
Pretty well, yeah.
That's chemistry, folks.
Well, and the thing is, we both kind of have the same warped sense of humor. You remember when we first met, we hit it right off. That was, remember Dino's house? You came all the way up here, remember?
Yeah.
We had a little barbecue in the backyard. He cooked those dried ribs. It's the first time I ever had rib jerky. And sorry, Dino, but...
And that's where it's a lot of fun. All the memories from that point on, here we are. We get together. Yeah, we're a little rusty. We've got some things we have to relearn, rethrow in the kinks, spray some WD-40 on a few things. That's life. Welcome to live radio, folks. But what we want you to do is definitely join us in chat. Get over there, hauntedvoices.com, log in, Facebook, Twitter as a guest. Just get in there. Share the tweets. Tell people. We're back on. Let them know. Come on over. Have a good time. We've got some great guests coming up. We've got returning guest Matthew Schultz, Para-Explorer Project. We're going to be discussing what's been going on with Schultz, because I had to hide. And Phil hid right with me. We just kind of hid for a few years, waiting for this media thing to die down. We're going to have special shows on that coming up as well, because that kind of put a damper on the field. Great things coming with this show. Different format. That's one of the things I love about it. For example, if we're sitting here discussing ghosts, goblins the first hour, we're going to switch gears the second with either a different guest or a completely different topic. It's going to be perhaps UFOs, conspiracies, dreams. You never know. But we're going to have a lot of fun with the show, and we want your interaction. Chat is very important. I know it kind of fell to the wayside. Everybody's thinking, oh, that's so 90s. No, it's actually quite modern. And with the one in there, Phil, they can upload pictures, they can video chat, audio chat with each other, meet new people. find new friends. You can friend them right there, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, that's social media stuff now. It's bejesusly crazy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's pure insanity. So these are some of the things we're going to be doing with the new show. New format, different guests, different styles of interviewing them, and interaction. We're going to be taking your calls later on, off and on. I mean, give us some time to chat with the people a little bit. And of course, we're going to open up the lines. You guys want to say hi. You want to leave a message. You want to say, why the hell did you come back? That's what this opener, this first hour is all about. We're getting Schultze on here, of course. Nicole Strickland's going to be joining us at 1:45. And we're going to be discussing what she's got going on and what she's been up to. And, of course, Josh Warren. Now, Josh is saying 2017 is the year that ghosts are going to be proven. It has to be this year. Because from what I can tell, Phil, there's been no major breakthroughs. Have you heard of any breakthroughs?
No.
I haven't heard of anything major. I mean, I know there's ghost boxes. They got the new wings and whams and a couple zooms. But I haven't heard of anybody catching one in a jar yet or anything like that, anything phenomenal. Everything, I think, is still flowing along.
No, the only thing is I've been watching some of the paranormal shows. Right. I've been watching some of the newer paranormal shows, and I don't know. All these paranormal people seem to be getting more sensitive. You know, they used to come in and depend on their equipment. Now they come in and all of a sudden they start sweating, or they feel that there's something there, and they start to feel like they're going to go out of their minds and stuff. It makes interesting. It's a more interesting show.
Yeah.
But I don't know how all these people become more sensitive, you know.
So it's like they're becoming more intuitive. They're not seeing things. Things are changing. They're dropping the equipment and going with the gut, going with their notepad, flashlight. Hey, things may screw up. We all may go back old school. Who knows? Hang tight, folks. Coming up next, the one and only Matthew Schultz, Para-Explorer Project, going to be joining us here, followed by the lovely and talented Nicole Strickland. Hang tight. Haunted Voices Radio will be right back.
Yep.
You're listening to WGOG Digital Broadcasting.
Of course he believes in reincarnation. Just look at his radio career. Here's Todd Bates with Phil Roll on Haunted Voices Radio. A man who has completely redefined normal in paranormal. It's Todd Bates with Phil Roll on Haunted Voices Radio.
Dad! Come on! Over here! Look at this, Dad! Over... Whoa.
The moment my son saw a redwood tree.
It's huge!
Is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, biking, fishing, or camping. Or do your own thing when you get there with family and friends. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community
a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm gonna keep ticking. But no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
So, I'm a dog, and I just got adopted by this new human guy, and I'm starting to wonder how he got along without me. I mean, okay, something as simple as walking around the block. He's got this leash thing, and he puts me on one end and him on the other, and I'm just taking him around. I think he's afraid of getting lost. Without that leash and me guiding him along, I don't think he'd find his way back home. But it's kind of cute.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
"23 minutes past the hour. Welcome back. Haunted Voices Radio Live. Of course, with your host, Phil Roll, and myself, Todd Bates. Yes, we're back. The dynamic duo. Boys are back in town. And, of course, our first welcome back guest is none other, Matt Schultz of Para Explorers Project. Now, Matt, born in the Scooby-Doo generation and having a curiosity of all things paranormal since a child. Now, Matt's interest in the spiritual realm was greatly heightened when it was discovered his uncle and aunt lived within a haunted turn of the 20th century mansion located in California. Now, Matt is the current paranormal docent, and host of the Late Night Weekend Paranormal Investigation
Keep
Tours.
saying it long enough, you'll get it right.
Docent. It sounds Francais. Aboard the Queen Mary ship, of course. Matt Schultz, we love him to death. We cannot have a returning show without Schultzy. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Todd.
Hit me.
Todd.
Hit me with the word.
Old lost friend, how are you? Welcome back for the 10th time.
Yeah. you know, you get tired, you gotta sleep, then you wake up and you're like, what happened?
I know.
We're back, big man.
Fantastic. I'd like to say hello to the ever-excitable Phil over there. Welcome back, Phil.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be back. Took me 4 years to find Todd.
and I can vouch for you being an animal, Todd. I mean, Phil. I can vouch for that. You did streak across my living room window about 5 years ago. So
see,
yeah, animal.
See, Phil, these are things. Did you?
So the Freddy Krueger mask didn't work.
No, you put it in the wrong spot, but we'll leave it.
Yeah, I think I had it on the back of my head.
Now, Todd, you got to help me out here.
Wow.
I'm trying to figure something out. Now, this whole situation that we're involved in, like right now, is like one of three things I can figure out. Mm-hmm. It's either deja vu, which I've never had a deja vu experience before. This could be it. This could be reincarnation.
Okay.
Possibly, with your show. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I believe in reincarnation, but, you know, your radio career certainly is proof of it, right?
Oh, my God, yes.
Yeah. And it could be a 1960s acid flashback.
I'm gonna.
But the problem is I'm too young for the 60s and the flashbacks, and the strongest thing I consume is caffeine and sriracha sauce. So
sriracha. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say it's all the above. It has to be something.
It could be a combination of all of them.
For Phil and I to get back together like this and to bring back something that we surely put to death several years ago. Hell must have froze over, and here we are. You know, it is what it is.
Yes. Time, it is thawing out.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Well, welcome back. It's great to hear you back on the airwaves. I felt like a scorned girlfriend or something, just marking the days off in the calendar since you had stopped talking to us. And I ran out of penning, so Your timing is good.
I had to hide. I had to go away. I had to hide. But here we are. And Schulze...
That's what he told me. I had to hide. And I said, you did a damn good job, I'll tell you.
You know, I did. But, you know, like Phil and I, we kind of vicariously stayed in touch with each other through my children. You know, it was just the way things had to be. I miss the community.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know Phil did too. It was one of those things where I just, I had to wait. Things were getting whoa. I mean, television was like, you know, people are researching this field to be the next television star, not to discover the answer.
Yeah.
So it got to the point where it was like, are you kidding me? I'm exiting stage left.
Yeah.
Old school.
It was probably a good time to do that. Things were getting pretty crazy. Things seem to have calmed down a little bit. Shows have been canceled. Things have consolidated. But I got to tell you, I've gotten a lot of messages from people who also listen to your shows through the years. I mean, I've known you for about 10 years. And people really felt a void, felt you're greatly missed. So there's a lot of celebration going on right now, Todd. And very happy that you're back on the air and pretty excited about your new format. Even though we can't do these marathon shows that go on for 5 or 6 hours. I'm going to miss that.
You remember that? Phil, I don't know if I don't know if Phil and I can do one of those without ending up in the hospital now. I think
well, it's like, I mean, we're looking at the timer going, well, there is no time on the other side, so why should we acknowledge it here? Let's just go on for another 5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, the audience would stay with us. Everybody was in chat. We were there to the wee hours. We discovered all kinds of new theories. And
they were gluttons for punishment, but we went on and on and on.
It was amazing.
Until one of us fell asleep.
It took until 3 in the morning.
That. You felt so good about it, because like a Friday night, we go and... all of a sudden, it's like, well, let's keep going. People are saying, no, don't go off. Let's keep going. We keep going till 1 in the morning. It's like, I got to work tomorrow. I got to get up at 5 o'clock, and it's 2 o'clock now almost.
Well, it was a high-tech party line, a ghost party line, right? But it was a lot of fun. But it's nice to see some structure in here, and with the revolving guests coming in, I think it's going to be very exciting for you guys. I'm really happy that you're back.
It is. It's going to be a lot of fun. It already is. It already is a lot of fun. It feels good. It feels different than what it used to. I don't have the pressure. Phil's not yelling at me anymore or threatening me like he used to. And I mean, I'm literally bald. Before I was just pre-bald. Now I'm completely bald. Thanks, Phil. You pass that along. But the thing with it is this show, it's fun. And
it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. And another thing is that a lot of people like myself started listening to you a long time ago when many of us were starting off in this field, and we learned a lot from you. So, in a way, today is truly like a deja vu reincarnation, 60s acid flashbacks experience for me. It's kind of comforting. It's kind of comforting in a weird, strange way. I never thought I would say your voice is comforting, Todd, but I'll go ahead and admit it.
I'm the one with the comforting voice.
No, you're like what's his name there, Vincent Price, for crying out loud. You'd make me wet myself. That's the thing.
I just did.
No, it's crazy. But with this whole thing, we're going to get all caught up. There's so many things we have to discuss yet. We've got all these different guests planned. Bev's out there doing a great job. I mean, just a sneak peek here, folks. We do have a skeptic coming on next week. Okay. We've got Stanton Friedman next week. We're going to be discussing Roswell first hour. Second hour, we've got none other than the publisher of Skeptic Magazine, Michael Shermer.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with skepticism.
You can't get any more skeptical than that. And that's the thing.
That's right.
We learn from it. So,
critical thinking is desperately needed in this field. So any that we can get, even if it goes off to one side quite a bit, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean,
that's the thing. It's good to be skeptical.
Yeah.
I mean, any paranormal investigator knows when you walk into a house or any place, the first thing you do is try to find a logical explanation for whatever people are saying is happening.
Yeah.
So that's skepticism right there. I'm figuring most likely there's a logical explanation. But then you have the others that are just, and this is funny, Todd, the other week or so ago, I happened to run across the show we did with James Randi.
Mm-hmm. Ah, yes.
Talk about somebody who just, it's all bull.
Yeah.
Oh, it
That's
was
that
so hard
extreme
to
end I
talk
was
to him and
referring
not
to.
get into it.
We had fun with Jimmy, though. You know, we learned that
yeah.
there was a blue giraffe in New York. But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of interviewing someone like that, is you do learn a lot, because it does it puts you in check. Because if we're out there in this field and we see all these different things and make light of them, and all, which we do,
Sure.
but some of these things, they're legitimate. We just don't know they're legitimate yet. that's the challenge of it. But we've got a few minutes here, and of course we've got some great audio we got to play here in a minute, and we got a little breather coming up here. But Schultz, I want you to catch up the audience. Okay. What's been going on, my man? I mean, you've been a busy man. What's happening?
I have been a busy guy. Well, going back years ago, I guess, right when you left the air for the 10th time,
mm-hmm.
I was I had a co-created and co-hosted paranormal investigation tours at the Whaley House, which was a wonderful honor. What an incredible place. Loved it. But did leave the team that I was involved with at the time to start my own team, Explorer Project. And with the retiring of good friends, mentors, Pat Wheelock and Erica Frost at the Queen Mary, who were paranormal investigation tour hosts there. With their retirement, I was asked to come in and take over the paranormal program there at the Queen Mary ship. And I talk about, things going so quickly. I just started my fifth year hosting those tours. And it's just been an incredible journey. It's been such an incredible honor to be able to work at two such outstanding paranormal laboratories. And by far, I would say the Queen Mary is my favorite place ever to investigate.
Oh, well, that's...
I just feel so lucky and fortunate, and to be able to make acquaintances and friends with paranormal investigators from across the world who come to visit. And just recently, we worked with IBM doing some ghost hunting there with their Watson cognitive computing system. I don't know if you're familiar with Watson. Some people might be, but we could talk about that at a later time in detail. But things have been going fast, furious, and fun at the ship. And
so the tours are
I had a good time.
The tours there. Now you do these every weekend, Friday, Saturday, or is it?
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And Sunday.
And Sunday.
They come back. They come there from church. I mean,
That's right. They go from talking about spirits to seeing them. Well, there's a lot of people that come to visit the Queen Mary on the weekends, and a lot come in on Sunday evening, and they want something fun to do, and they're on vacation, so they don't mind staying late overnight or late night, staying up late to take a tour. And so it's on Sunday nights, it's mostly folks that are staying aboard the ship. Fridays and Saturdays, we get lots of people that come from off ship, from the community, from all over the world, actually, to come visit the ship and take a tour. And they last about 3-4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And we go through a lot of the paranormally active spots, and locations change from tour to tour. And it's an active investigation style tour. It's not a looky-loo tour. It's not a sightseeing tour. We give some education. We put some paranormal hand investigation hand tools to use, and the goal is for everybody to investigate, get dirty, and take home evidence to review. And I get a lot of very interesting things coming back to me. So
I miss it.
It's wonderful to be able to take this evidence that we get in these experiences and help build the paranormal profile of the ship.
Well, before we get into some audio here,
okay.
Tell the folks where they can go to register, the websites, get everything out there, because we're going to get knee deep in some ghostly phenomenon here.
Well, I don't really have anything to sell. I don't have a book, and if you're visiting or TV programs or anything like that, if you'd like to visit the ship, I would just visit the ship for the ship's sake herself. She's just a beautiful Art Deco masterpiece. And if you decide that you want to take a tour, they're available late nights on the weekends, like I'd mentioned. And just visit the Queen Mary website, the official website, queenmary.com. Lots of great information on this incredibly important historical landmark. And if you want to visit our team website. It's Para Explorer Project, and there's lots of information there about the ship, other adventures we've had, lots of education. And Todd, of course, we have you're, as people should know, you are an associate member, as Phil is, of the team, and we have your material there as well. We have your thoughts about EVP, some samples of your personal captures, and designations of the classification system of EVP, and most importantly, what I think is historical is your 2008 interview of EV Pioneer. Oh yes,
Series
Step, absolutely.
Goodness.
It's the last known. I think it's the last known audio recorded interview before death.
Mm-hmm.
So. I've always kept that in a proud position on the homepage of our website, Todd. I think it's very important for everybody to listen to it.
Thank you very much for showcasing that. That means a lot. I mean, I wouldn't be here without her, and Phil and I never would have been connected without her. You and I never would have been connected without her. I mean, that's the beauty of how everything happens for a reason. So yeah, thank you for doing that.
So that's all, just those two places, but primarily the QueenMary.com. Just check out the history of the ship and the importance that she's played through history.
Yeah, but it's haunted, so go check out
and
the
haunted.
And it's haunted. I've had some experiences there myself. We won't get into that, but my goodness.
Oh yeah.
And maybe we can do a live broadcast from there
soon. The diaper dance that you did there on another show. Here.
Oh, it was phenomenal. Maybe we can do a live show from there soon. That'd be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
I'd love it.
All right, now we've got something here to kind of throw the audience for a loop. No pun intended. Right. We've got some audio coming up. Explain this real quick. We've got about 5 minutes total.
Okay, great. Real quick. Of course, I was invited on, to appear on the show about a week ago for this, big celebration of your return after retiring so many times. So I thought, well, what do I want to do? So I decided to go to the ship, and while we're doing an EVP session with my guests this last weekend, I just went ahead and asked the spirits if they happen to know of a Todd Bates, if they've ever heard of Todd Bates. So you're going to hear my question, you're going to hear something strange, you're going to hear a response to it by our guests, and then the next clip will have it cleaned up a little bit.
Oh my. All right, so what we're going to do, now what Matt does, this is why I love playing Matt's recordings on here. He knows I do the harmonious 3. It's just, and that's the way this is going to roll. You're going to hear it 3 times. I don't even have to load it 3 times. He's got it all preset. That's why Phil and I love having him on the program.
That's why he always sends them to me.
Yep. Lazy, right? Yeah, okay.
It's perfect. So here it is, folks. This is...
I just want to note this is a disembodied voice. This is not, as you'll tell from the reaction of the guests, it's not EVP. So
disembodied, folks.
Audible voice phenomenon, AVP.
All right, check it out here, and then we've got another one here that's going to follow. Let us know what you think.
I'd like to reach out to any spirit here that knows a Todd Bates from Haunted Voices Radio. Does anybody know a Todd Bates? Yes or no, please. I just want to stop there. After I asked that question, I thought I heard something strange back here.
It sounded like it was right here.
Yeah, I did too. It's like a breath.
And it was right here.
Yeah.
Sweet Mary, Mother of the Messiah.
Did you do a little diaper dance there?
I just shat myself. That.
All right. Well,
that was
what I did is, of course, I was recording at the time, and I took it home. I cleaned it up. I reversed it. I put noise reduction in it. And here's the results. Here's what I discovered. What we had recorded.
Oh, that's creepy. All right. Now, this is the second part, folks, that's been...
Second portion. Highly modified, highly processed.
A little modified. While we're playing this, I'm going to go wipe myself. Enjoy.
Yes or no, please.
3 months. Then he retires again. 3 months. Then he retires again.
That was amazingly clear. If I heard it correct, did it say 3 months and then he retires again?
Yeah.
Phil, did you get the same thing?
I guess there is no time on the other side. They can just see what's going to happen in the future. So I think we've proved a couple things with that recording.
Boy, that one knows you well.
Phil, I mean...
And another thing we've proved is the tone of this show, right? Of course.
Yeah, but that's so accurate. That's so spot on. I mean, don't you agree, Phil? You want to analyze that later? I mean, you're the one. You're way better than what I am now. I don't even know what the hell audition is anymore.
Yeah, that one, I don't know. It's so clear. I don't think it really needs to be. It's obviously a voice.
I don't think it needs.
We had to, at least, during my session with you, had to bring it back to your roots.
What kind of welcome back would it be without Schultz coming on, pulling a stunt like that? That was just...
There you go.
Oh, I love him. Oh, you got to love it. All right. I tell you what, Schultz, get them out, how they can check out the Queen, sign up for the tours, and get a hold of you and everything one more time.
All right, just go to queenmary.com. That's the most important website to check out the history of the Queen Mary. And if you're interested in my team and evidence, etc., some of Todd's work, it's paraexplorerproject.com. Welcome back, guys. I've really missed you, and I'm really looking forward to your upcoming shows.
We missed you too, my friend. It's great to be back. What do you think, Phil?
Oh, absolutely. And believe me, don't think you won't be back.
Right, I'm looking forward to it. Forward to...
You know that's happening. You know that's a given.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, that's the thing. I don't get to investigate that much anymore, but he sends me the files, and I love it, because it keeps me involved a little bit, because I'm still listening to those files, and
that's what we're going to do.
Once an EVP guy, always an EVP guy.
Oh yeah.
Some things never change. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go out there soon. We're going to plan this out. We're going to do a live broadcast, Phil and I, from the Queen, Haunted Voices. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get with Schultz, catch up on good old times. It's going to be great fun. Definitely want to thank Schultz for coming on the show here. You folks hold tight. Join us in chat. HauntedVoices.com. It's open. Log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. Coming up next... Yes, the one and only Nicole Strickland's going to be joining us here. We're going to be talking about what's coming up with Nicole, what she's been up to, and don't forget, second hour, Joshua P. Warren, the man himself, joining us. Haunted Voices Radio Live, back in just a few minutes. Hang tight.
WGOG, DB, Clearwater.
UFO, EVP, IR, EMF, and DVR are one BFD. To Todd Bates and Phil Roll, you're listening to Haunted Voices Radio.
Of course my kid's in the right car seat. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, my kid's in a booster seat. He was ready to move up. He is ready, right?
Her car seat looks like the right size.
There are probably rules on when to move up to a booster seat, aren't there?
Rear facing, forward facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Rich is just a really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Looking for uncommon talent? Meet the Grads of Life. They're not the typical candidates you're used to, but they're exactly who your company needs. An ideal fit for entry-level positions, internships, and even mentorships. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn more. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Dad! Come on! Over here! Look at this, Dad! Over!
Whoa. The moment my son saw a redwood tree
It's huge!
is the moment I knew that for him,
You can't even see the top of that thing!
even the sky has no limit.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, biking, fishing, or camping. Or do your own thing when you get there with family and friends. Your moment is out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, 49 minutes past the hour. Haunted Voices Radio live right here, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Of course, we want to thank Schultz for coming on once again. Hey, glitch. We're trying to get hold of Nicole. Software, technical difficulty here. You got to love that stuff.
Yeah, she's vanished.
Yeah, it's back and forth, in and out is what I'm looking. Nicole, if you can hear, don't worry. We're trying. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a few of your calls here. We've had a few people trying to call in during the break. Don't worry, I wasn't trying to be rude, folks. I didn't mean to hang up on anybody that's listening. It wasn't about that. When you got 1,001 things going on, it's like,
yeah,
please hold. But one thing I want to do is I want to give a big shout out to all of you fine folks out there at work. Go Gulf Coast. Get a boat. Now, what we got coming up here, second hour, the one and only Joshua P. Warren. JoshuaPWarren.com. He's going to catch Phil and I up on all the crazy, bizarre things going on out there in the world. Wow. I've learned a lot already, Phil. I mean, we're almost done here with the first hour. That flew by like it normally does. No wonder we did these damn excursions for, what, 6-7 hours on here?
Yeah, time goes by fast.
I know, yeah. You lose your hair even faster. Now, with this, we're going to take some calls. Join us in chat as well. HauntedVoices.com. Log in there. Facebook, Twitter, as a guest. Get in there. Have some fun. Let us know what you think, what you'd like, what you don't like, who you'd like on the show, because we're accepting guests. You know anybody that has ever seen Bigfoot, shook their hand, seen him hitchhiking on the side of the road? Yes, we have interviewed people that has happened to. Email Beverly. She wants to know. Producer at hauntedvoices.com. Bigfoot, cryptozoology is fun to talk about. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm sure you heard, Phil.
Chupacabra. A lot of weird creatures around.
Chupacabra got hit by a car. I guess the whole thing is squashed. I've got to ask Joshua about this, because I heard Chupacabra got tanked by some kind of motor vehicle, some kind of hairless dog. I have no idea, because I'm way out of the loop. Way out of the loop.
Yeah, it's been a while. I'm kind of behind on things too. All I know is that Bigfoot, I think, likes jerky.
Well, what was it?
He likes that jerky. Or he gets mad if you make fun of him when you're eating the jerky.
Pancakes and syrup.
Yeah, I've heard they like that.
Pancakes and syrup. We had Bigfoot researcher Tom Biscardi on here in the past. One of my favorites, but this guy's literally nearly impossible to track down because he lives in the mountains. He just goes out in these expeditions, well in the nowhere, Discovery Channel, all that. This guy goes out and just BFE and makes these cages, and then he goes in there, and he said there was a little old lady or something that lived in this little cabin out there that fed Bigfoot pancakes and syrup, and the damn thing ate it. Attracted whole families of them. What do you think, Phil?
No, I've heard that before, that they like sweet stuff. So, load them up with some chocolate or something like that, and hey, they might come.
It was back in the day, him, let's see, Biscardi and his team.
Him. Yeah, I remember Biscardi. He was pretty cool.
He invited Stephen and I, our producer at the time, Stephen Wren, graphics extraordinaire, by the way. Thank you, Stephen, very much for all your hard work. He invited Stephen and I to Paris, Texas, to catch Bigfoot with him while he witnessed it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, needless to say, Phil, we didn't go. I didn't know. I mean, I don't know. Going out in the woods like that deep, all I could hear is banjo music. And think of the movie Deliverance. It's one of those things where you never find what you're looking for, and in turn, they never find you either. Right?
Right. The other thing is, I don't know, investigating hauntings and spirits are one thing. Mm-hmm. Going out in the woods and this gigantic 7-foot physical hairy thing that can snap you in half like a twig, I'm not so sure I want to do that.
Yeah, there are certain things you just don't go up against.
I've never heard of a spirit picking you up and breaking you in half.
No. No.
I hear they smell really bad too.
Yeah, they do reek of certain things. And we had interviews in the past. Some of the classic shows are up there at hauntedvoices.com if you want to check them out. I don't know if this one's up there, but there was a guest we had on where Bigfoot allegedly raped a woman. How? I mean, what? So this is the world of the strange and bizarre. And in a way, I miss it because it seems things have gotten even more strange and bizarre.
Oh, yeah. Look at the last presidential election. Oh. That's a whole nother topic, though.
Well, sure it is.
But you want to talk about strange and bizarre, right?
That took a turn for the worse. Everything's a conspiracy, it seems, today, too. So we're going to have some conspiracy specials coming up here. Now they're even saying this Fort Lauderdale shooting's a conspiracy. That they're crisis actors. They were busted. I mean, don't worry. We're going to have an episode with all this. We can talk with Michael about this next week, publisher of Skeptic Magazine. See what he thinks. Because he's going to tell us why we think these things, folks. Why, when we look at this, we see this, or why, when we hear this, we smell this. We're going to learn all these fine things.
And the thing is, too, I think people love these conspiracy things because, I mean, look at the, John Kennedy. People still talk about, who really killed him, mm-hmm. and, is Elvis really dead, or is he living in a old age home in Texas? And
JFK,
people love that kind of stuff. They love this weird that things aren't really what they're supposed to be. People love that stuff.
It's a fear of the unknown, and that's what I like about it. I mean, some of this stuff does make sense. Some of this absolutely not. In any way, shape, or form would I swallow a spoonful of it. But that's up to each of you to build your own foundation from it. Like Phil and I give you the information. Yeah, we make light of it. We have fun. Let's face it. We're talking about death and crazy stuff. You got to have some fun with it or people are going to jump off cliffs. It's crazy. Yeah. So you got to have a little fun with it.
Yeah, just a lot of things. The way people think fascinates me. What goes on in people's minds, is like the debate that's been going on for years is what makes Judge Judy so sexy?
I know.
Just things like that,
She's hot, too. She's gotten better with age, Phil. You were right back in the day. I know you've got a big crush on her. It's the doily thing
like
on the neck.
wine. Just gets better.
She gets better with age, and the robe now. It does. Is it me, or is that robe a little tighter on her now?
I think it might be.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, sometimes when I watch, she'll tell somebody, speak up. I can't hear you. I'm getting old. There's something about the way she says I'm getting old that just
kind of makes you tingle a little bit.
Yeah, makes the hairs on the back of my neck kind of move.
All right.
That's about the only hair I've got left is what's on the back of my neck.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why that happens.
That's pretty freaking disgusting. That's amazing, Phil. It's amazing. The hair, the whole makeup there, the whole false teeth thing. It's gorgeous. And I can see.
There's another one I'd like to talk about. Why is it as you get older, you start losing hair where you want it and growing it where you don't?
Well, it's
that's not fair.
It's a product of give and take. It's what it is. It's an illusion. Both you and I are bald. But that's the illusion we present because no one else knows. They're asking themselves, are they really bald or do they just shave it? So it's a mystery.
Yeah.
So just let it fall. Let gravity take its course. We'll be in the ground soon enough, and people will enjoy our archives for weeks to come after. So it's all fun and games.
Well, that's the thing. You deal with it. I don't care.
We can't.
I walk in the bathroom, I look at the top of my head, then I look at my ears and my nose and see all the hair there, and I cry for a minute, and then I go on with my life.
Oh, it's horrifying. Oh, sweet Mary, Mother of the Messiah. All right, folks. We're going to get Nicole back for a full interview. Don't worry. We had her for a 12-minute segment here tonight. We're going to get her back for a full hour program coming up here soon. Don't move. Get in chat. HauntedVoices.com. Log in now if you want to screw up and learn something. Coming up next, the one and only Joshua P. Warren. JoshuaPWarren.com. This man's been on television. He's an author. He's what got a guy like Phil and I into the field. Don't move.
Yeah,
We're going to catch up.
I'm looking forward to this.
We're going to catch up with the one and only Joshua P. Warren right here on Haunted Voices Radio, The Return Show. You're listening live, WGODG Digital Broadcasting. Stay tuned. Latest news coming up.
WGOG DB Clearwater.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney. During his trial, Dylan Roof showed no remorse for killing 9 people at a Charleston, South Carolina church. And the jury has shown no mercy in sentencing him to death in the federal hate crime case.
He decided the day, the hour, and the moment that my sister was going to die. And now someone's going to do the same for him.
Melvin Graham says the sentence won't bring his sister, Cynthia Hurd, back.
But what it can do is just send a message to those who feel the way he feels, that this community will not tolerate it.
Roof is the first person to face execution for federal hate crime convictions. Alabama Senator Jeff Sessions fielded some tough questions during a Senate confirmation hearing on his nomination to be Attorney General.
Do you agree with the President-elect that the United States can or should deny entry to members of a particular religion?
I believe the President-elect has, subsequent to that statement, made clear that he believes the focus should be on individuals coming from countries that have history of terrorism.
The question posed by Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont. Another Senate confirmation hearing on President-elect Trump's choice to head Homeland Security. Retired Marine General John Kelly questioned by Missouri Democrat Claire McCaskill.
General Kelly, do you accept the conclusions of the intelligence community regarding Russian interference in our election?
With high confidence.
If confirmed, Kelly would become the first non-civilian to head the Department of Homeland Security since it was created in 2002. President Obama is in Chicago tonight, where he will deliver his farewell address to the nation about an hour from now. It'll be broadcast live on many Fox News stations. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Time starts now. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat? Where can you find the answers to these questions?
Car crashes are one of the leading killers of U.S. children. Many of those deaths could be prevented by making sure that kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
No excuses for a man charged in a deadly attack near Pennsylvania police barracks.
It's been more than 2 years since the ambush attack that left one Pennsylvania trooper dead, another wounded. The suspect, Eric Freen, captured by U.S. Marshals after a 48-day manhunt some 30 miles from the scene of the attack near the Blooming Grove State Police Barracks. His lawyers had already signaled they probably would not use an insanity defense, but now a Pike County judge has granted the prosecution request to bar evidence of mental infirmity. Jury selection is scheduled to begin in March in Chester County outside Philadelphia. The plan is to bus the jury to Pike County for the trial. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Confirmation that human remains have been found by crews searching Lake Erie for wreckage of a plane that vanished near Cleveland. They've also found a 20-foot section of the fuselage and other debris. That plane was carrying 6 people. Hollywood celebs defend one of their own following political comments at the Golden Globes.
Ben Affleck took a moment during his visit to ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live to defend fellow actor Meryl Streep. But he wasn't talking about her speech against our president-elect. He was talking about what Mr. Trump tweeted in response, telling Kimmel,
"If there's one thing truly in the world that we know it's not true, it's that Meryl Streep is overrated."
Meanwhile, George Clooney responded to Mr. Trump's tweets, saying, "Aren't you supposed to be running the country?" Speaking at the London reception for the Syria rescue workers dock the White Helmets, Clooney said, "I didn't vote for him. However, I do hope he will do a decent job." Clooney defended Streep's right forever to speak out. Michelle Polino, Fox News.
A West Coast rivalry concerning a museum is over. Los Angeles beats out San Francisco as the home of the Lucas Museum of Narrative Art. Star Wars creator George Lucas says it will be built in Exposition Park in L.A. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
Top of the hour, Haunted Voices Radio return show live right here on WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Join us in chat, hauntedvoices.com. It's open. The new Rumble Talk, you gotta love it. All kinds of cool features in there. Log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. Upload pictures. Share your videos, whatever you want to do. Post some links in there. Have a lot of fun. Just like Phil and I are going to have this next hour. Now, we have one of our favorite guests. Now, without this man, I wouldn't know the difference between literally a ghost or a spirit. Okay? He got me started way back in the day. Read his book, of course, How to Hunt Ghosts, Pet Ghost. Extraordinary individual. And we're going to have him bring us up to speed. And, of course, He's going to inform us what's going on in the world of Joshua P. Warren, and that is exactly who we're interviewing this hour. We're honored to have him back. Welcome back to Haunted Voices Radio, Joshua.
Hey, thank you so much. Congratulations being back on the air. I've missed you, and it's just a delight to be with you tonight.
Same here. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year, and so many things. Now, I've been following you here and there because I'm on your mailing list. Okay, I get them. And first of all, we've got a lot of new listeners in here. A lot of them are new to the field. If you could just briefly let the folks know, let them know about Lemur, what got you started real quick, kind of bring them up to speed a little bit, and then we're going to get into some nitty gritty.
Quote, perfect. Actually started making a.
Okay, it's okay. It's we got some audio things going back and forth. It's all right. You're in Puerto Rico, so it's we've got some long distance barrier. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. That's so.
We're
no.
It's okay, Josh.
Yeah, I was born and raised in of some interesting.
Sounds like a fine internet connection.
Wow.
Ghosts, and then writing books about ghosts, and I've always been fond of this quote by Charles Fort that you can measure a circle beginning anywhere, and I found that if you stick with ghosts long enough, eventually you'll find a connection between ghosts and UFOs, and then you'll find a connection between UFOs and cryptids, and then you'll find that all this stuff is and say
it's okay, we're working with it.
And the energy materialization and unexplained phenomena research, which has been around since 1995 and is devoted to going out in the field and investigating all this stuff.
And that's the rough part. Getting out there in the field. You know, now, when we got out of the field, Josh, there was a lot of couch potatoes. A lot of people, armchair researchers and things of that nature. Has that changed at all over the past few years? Are more people getting out there discovering things?
You know, you would think so, but unfortunately, the internet has made it so easy for people to still sit back in the armchair there that they commonly mistake what can be done through the internet as a suitable substitute for being out there in the field. And then often when people get out there in the field, they are still not employing enough of the sort of stringent controls that are necessary to interpret their data properly. I find that the popularity of many of these television shows, and trust me, you know, I enjoy them and I appear on many of them myself. Mm-hmm. But still, I must say that these television shows, you know, they are designed for entertainment purposes. And so those shows give people the impression that, hey, you go out, you buy a handful of tools, you run around, and you look for something weird, and you're making progress. But it doesn't really teach you anything about the proper sort of scientific methodology, or even if you're not going to call it scientific, just the proper way to necessarily know the difference between what's normal and what's paranormal, because they don't really stress enough about how you go into an environment and get your baselines. And I haven't seen a big change in that, and I think that's one of the reasons that you know, we are making progress, but it has not been as explosive as it should be, given the technology we have these days.
Well, that's another thing. You mentioned the TV shows, and I've noticed lately that it seems like more of them, the newer ones that have come out recently, all of a sudden these investigators, and a lot of them are people who were on a previous show, all of a sudden they're becoming so much more sensitive. They walk into a place and boom, they start sensing there's something here, there's something negative, I'm sensing something demonic. So it seems like these TV shows, and like you said, they're entertainment, they want ratings. But I noticed that it seems like more and more all of a sudden these people that were never sensitive to this stuff before and relied on equipment, all of a sudden are, turning psychic to a point.
Yeah, and often that's done out of convenience, and it's because that if you, realistically speaking, are working on a TV series and there is a deadline to crank out each episode and you want to get that paycheck, everybody shows up. I mean, you darn well better get something. And I mean, if you're sitting around and you're not picking up something that's sensational enough for TV, well, then it's very tempting for a lot of these people to start using their imaginations and start becoming very subjective about what they're feeling. And it's very easy to take some of these, little fuzzy noises and exaggerate them into some type of a meaningful EVP. And so, unfortunately, these shows often get too creative when it comes to interpreting what's actually happening in a setting.
So do you think that's what happened with a lot of them? The pressure for them to produce got to them so much that, because there was some, I don't want to mention any names of shows. There was a couple that I knew the people that were on there, and there was a lot of pressure beforehand, and this was added to it, and there was a lot of breakups because of it. Do you think that's production, or do you think that's just the pressure, the guilt from being pushed to do something that they couldn't produce?
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the television business, as it is currently set up, just does not coincide with the time and attention needed in order to do good, credible, productive research. It takes so much time. That's why when some kind of big discovery is put out into the media made by some mainstream scientist, usually that discovery was made 5 or 6 years ago, and they've just been going over it and over it and over it, passing this around to peers and letting everything get reviewed before they feel confident enough to come forth. Now, compare that to what we find with these TV shows that they this week we're doing this and that's our result. Now let's move on to the next one, and there's just not enough time there. And then you combine that, of course, with the stress of just being put on the spot in a reality setting. I mean, anybody who's been on these reality shows can tell you that there's not a heck of a lot of reality there in many cases. I mean, the people who show up to do those things are often just sort of like underpaid actors, really. Yeah. Because you show up and they say, well, here's basically what we want to happen here. And then, they may not be feeding you lines, even though I have had people try to give me a script before, and I've said, no, I'm not reading a script. But still, there is that sort of all the drama that goes with show business, and you can't squeeze that into a legitimate box for scientific research in most cases.
Yeah, and you've seen a lot of that. You've been on numerous different programs. The back ends, the ins and outs of this, and that's why I wanted to cover that in the first segment, was getting this out in the open, because of course this is one of the reasons why Phil and I just kind of bowed out and let things calm down a little bit. We're old school, you're old school. We want to get back into research, discovering things, get back to what we're supposed to do. And I know technology is out there. There's so much of it now, Joshua. It's everywhere. You have these different meters. We're used to a simple analog recorder and a notepad. Now they have this complicated equipment that, of course, someone of your stature can use. Jeez, the things you create in the lab, it's amazing. But what you do, and why I respect your research over a lot of other people's, is you try to debunk yourself on a lot of the things that you do. And I respect that about you.
Well, thank you, and I feel that's the most important thing here. If we're going to make some real progress, we have to know the difference between something that's fresh and innovative and something that is just sort of catering to what we want to believe. And I can say that the great news about what's transpired over these past few years is that we now have a much more realistic view of just what we're dealing with here when it comes to this thing called the ghostly or the spiritual realm. And what I mean by that is, in the past, of course, it's been very easy to simply view the manifestation of a ghost as something sort of mechanical. This thing just appears because it's coming to us from a slightly ajar realm or dimension. We interact with it, and then it pops and it goes away, and then hopefully we can communicate with it. That's not exactly how it seems to work. We're finding out more and more that let me give you a couple of analogies, and I know we're coming up soon on a break, so feel free to stop me before
of course.
I get too
You know the
far
drill.
into
You know the drill.
But you know how, when you go to, say, Walmart, there are these little tags on much of the merchandise that are RFID chips. And these are little passive devices. They don't have batteries. They do nothing in particular when they're sitting in the store. But if you walk out the doors of the store and you have one of these tags that hasn't been deactivated, as you pass through an electromagnetic field that's being projected there, it hits those little passive tags, and suddenly it awakens them. It activates them.
Yeah, and you feel like a convicted felon.
Yeah. And they start transmitting information back, and the buzzer goes off. Well, I tend to think that maybe this entire environment that we're walking around in, called reality, is similar to this in that it has this great, vast assembly of bits of passive information that are sort of stored all around us. And 9 times out of 10, the average person can walk through some house or across some property, and they don't experience anything unusual. But once in a while, a particular person whose biochemistry is functioning in a certain way, or whose brain pulses are operating a certain way, will walk through that same area, and it's almost like that person shines his or her consciousness upon those little bits of information, and they wake up and they start transmitting information back. It's a form of sympathetic resonance between certain individuals' brains and perceptions and the environment. And
so that could be more. That could.
Yeah, when this happens, now you have this person having a paranormal experience that another person may not have.
That's what I was just going to say. You hear about homes where somebody moves into the house, they experience paranormal activity, they move out, somebody else moves in and doesn't experience anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some people who have paranormal lives. You hear about these people who just seem to always, wherever they go, so that they see something weird, and then you have people who never have a weird experience at all. Well, maybe that has something to do with it.
Oh, this is amazing, and this is why we have Joshua P. Warren back on the show, especially for the return. We're getting caught up. Now, we come back. We're going to open up the lines here in a little while for your questions. If you have any questions for Joshua, jot down the number 727-266-5962. You can also grab that in chat at hauntedvoices.com. We come back. We're going to touch on some great things here. We're going to finish up this conversation, of course, discuss Puerto Rico, some of the UFO alien reports going around there. One of Phil's favorite things to talk about with Josh, tulpas. He just that's one of his favorite things with him. Of course, Robert the Doll. We've got Wishing Machine coming up. Some of his courses that he has out now. You folks are going to be blown away. Join us in chat, hauntedvoices.com. You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio right here, WGOG Digital Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
WGOG DB Clearwater.
How to be a great dad in 15 seconds. Bike ride, go fish, walk in the park, phone call, milkshake, play catch, picnic, fly a kite, tell jokes, laugh, talk, read a story, tell a story, bumper car, swing set, bowling, pillow fight, cut loose, stay tight. Whew. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Of course he believes in reincarnation. Just look at his radio career. Here's Todd Bates with Phil Roll on Haunted Voices Radio.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. You're neutral to it. You hear it every time you finish a meal and never feel anything. But if we were able to associate this sound with a new stimulus, save the food, we've achieved pulling a natural response from you. Save the food. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Save the food. Because this ad is trying to change your after-meal behavior through brainwashing. Because food waste costs the average family $1,500 a year. Save the food. Cha-ching. And $1,500 extra bucks is like getting a pay raise. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted. Which could pay for your child's braces. Save the food. Cha-ching. You're promoted.
Check out my braces.
So when you hear this sound, rethink your behavior. Cook it, store it, share it. Just don't waste it. For tips and recipes, visit SaveTheFood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
"23 minutes past the hour, Haunted Voices Radio. We're back. And I want to let you know, next week, that's going to be January 17th, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. We're going to be having special guest, returning guest Stanton Friedman, nuclear physicist, going to be discussing Roswell in the first hour. Second hour, the one and only Michael Shermer, publisher, Skeptic Magazine. That's going to be a blast right there. All that starts 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here, hauntedvoices.com. You can listen right there on the player. Join us in chat. There's also third-party players there for you folks that are a little net savvy. Take us wherever you go. Everything's mobile friendly. Just go to hauntedvoices.com on your mobile device. You can take us wherever you like, or you can find us on TuneIn at WGOG-DB. And, of course, Phil and I are speaking with none other than the one and only Joshua P. Warren. Speaking of strange host, paranormal researcher extraordinaire, one of our mentors back in the day, Josh Warren. We've got him on here. He's filling us in. And, of course, we're going to be discussing all kinds of things strange, bizarre, this segment. And we're even going to let Phil and Joshua catch up on some tulpas. That's coming up. But first, we were discussing all these things, the EMF affecting people. That's one of the questions that did come in. They caught that. Gina is asking, does high exposure to paranormal activity cause baldness?
Well, I've never heard of that in particular, but I've heard of people's hair turning gray very quickly. So maybe it can affect the follicles in one way or another.
And, of course, from chat real quick here, Josh, someone wants to know out there, by the way, I've got to wish a happy birthday. John Swenke Sr., happy birthday. You want to throw him a happy birthday, Phil?
Yes, that's my buddy. We've spent a lot of time during the past summer on Facebook fighting with people about the presidential election. So we've had a lot of fun together.
Happy
birthday, John.
And they want to know what inspired your first book, Joshua.
Well, my very first book was actually a book of fictional, scary short stories and poems, and it was really just inspired mainly by a lot of the tales that I grew up with. I mean, I'm sure I've told you before, Todd and Phil, that before I was born, I mean, back in the 1930s, my great-uncle, Claude Calloway, vanished mysteriously in western North Carolina. It was one of those things where my grandmother took a picture of him, and when the picture developed, he didn't have a head. And they couldn't explain, of course, why that had occurred. And then 1 month later, he was sitting on the porch reading a copy of his magazine, having a conversation with his father through an open window, and all of a sudden, he just stopped talking. And his father went out there, and here was the magazine on the deck, but my great-uncle Claude Calloway was gone and was never seen or heard from again. And that was a huge tragedy in my family. They never had closure. They never got over that. I mean, he was only in his late 20s. And so there were lots of weird things, that I kind of grew up with that inspired me. But, the first time I actually saw a ghost, that was a huge deal because I spent years going to haunted places without ever seeing a ghost. I got to the point where I thought maybe I was never going to be able to see one, that some people have this certain combo of rods and cones in their eyes or something, and I wasn't one of them. And then finally, in an attic one night, investigating a house where a lady was about to move out because this, misty form had been showing up in her bedroom at night. And I was in the attic and with another researcher, and I turned, and between the two of us was this blue-gray misty form swirling right there. He and I both saw it from two different points of view. We both reached out and touched it. It was cold in the middle. It made the hair on my knuckles stand up. I even got a photograph of it. As a matter of fact, my website, joshuapwarren.com, has a section called the Gallery of the Strange. And if you click that, you'll find a lot of different pictures of ghosts and UFOs and other things that I believe are legit. And that picture is posted there. But nonetheless, I always tell people, now think about this for a second. Here I was in an attic with another guy. This thing appeared. 2 people saw it. 2 people touched it. I photographed it. What more are you supposed to do? I don't have the Ghostbuster trap that I can kick out there to suck it in and take it back and release it in my museum. So, you have to ask yourself, what does it realistically require for you to prove that ghosts exist given the technology we have right now?
I think that's part of it. Yeah, it's frustrating because I've caught pictures, plenty of EVP, and I know there was nobody there in that voice. Geez. But anybody listening to it says, well, how do you know there wasn't somebody off in the distance or something like that? But yeah, I was working with a group. We were investigating an old farm, and there was a barn. I saw a shadow of a man walk past the window in that barn, and there was nobody in that barn, and I clearly watched it walk by. And I said, I saw it, but yeah, you tell somebody you saw it, and they're going to say, well, what? It was a light reflection, or, yeah, what does it take to convince somebody that this is real? There's no explanation for this other than it's paranormal.
Yeah, and we might at some point be able to come up with some type of a device, I guess, that operates like a phone to the other side, but that's not even going to work if that's not the way that reality is set to function.
Right.
I'm almost under the impression that when you die and you transform into this spiritual form, it's a very different type of form, meaning that you might catch a glimpse of the old body imprinted once in a while in the environment. But it seems like that when you communicate with spirits, that it's almost like they are communicating by means of extraordinary synchronistic events that happen in the environment around you. Mm-hmm. And I could tell you some amazing stories about how that, I've been investigating some particular deceased person, or especially my good friend Vance Pollock, who's a historian. This happens to him all the time. And suddenly, once you've put your focus in that direction, these amazing synchronistic things start to occur. I mean, you'll be walking through a graveyard and you'll just walk right up to that tombstone, or you'll open up a book and there will be a paper that relates to this person's life that you'd never heard about 24 hours before. There are odd things like that start to occur. And, it reminds me, there was this experiment that was done in 2014 that I think is really important. It was done by the Institute for Quantum Computing at the University of Waterloo in Ontario. And, of course, I'm assuming most of your listeners are probably familiar with what they call quantum entanglement or spooky action at a distance, meaning that you can take two particles and you can entangle them in such a way that when you, say, flip one of them, the other one will flip instantaneously regardless of the distance between them. So that means you could put one on one side of the galaxy and one on the other side of the galaxy, and when you affect one, it affects the other one instantly, which doesn't make sense to us because even light travels at 186,000 miles per second. That takes time. What is this instantaneous connection?
Right.
Well,
what is
it? We don't about that, but at the University of Waterloo, for the first time in 2014, they created multi-party quantum entanglement, where they were able to take more than two particles and entangle them all together. Now, we don't know what the limits of this are, but what this shows us is something very important about how the universe is configured altogether, meaning that if you can actually have multiple particles that are all connected, then maybe everything in the entire universe is all connected in some very direct way. And since we know that time is a very flexible thing that's not really relevant to this conversation.
Yeah, we know now.
Then you might be able to connect to the mind of a person regardless of when that person lived, or if that person maybe a person who's not even born yet, because people are ultimately information patterns in the environment around us, and we're just starting to understand this about how reality works, and by doing that, it can change our approach to how we document these things in a much more nuanced way.
Well, with all of this strange activity, okay, all of this is unexplained. I cannot sit here and say that all of this is false. There's, number one, there's far too many eyewitness accounts. There's far too many occurrences, collective sightings. With this, now, I think all three of us are going to agree, including the audience, that we only use a certain percentage of our brain. Now, do you feel, Josh, that, I mean, of course, the human brain, it's an untapped resource. So do you feel some people possess more of these types of intuitions, or I know they end up being synchronicities in the end, as far as seeing more apparitions or hearing more ghostly voices or smelling more, all of these different, do you think those types of people are able to use more parts of their brain, all quantum physics aside? Do you think it comes down to something that simple, that they're using more of their brain than what the average person would be?
Well, they might be using more, or they might just be using it differently. I mean, think of a piano. Anybody could walk up to a piano and push the keys on it. Some people can walk up to it when they're 5 years old and just start playing a tune. Other people can't do that, but if they sit there and practice and work on it, well, they can play a tune in a few months. And so it's almost like this is something that might be sitting there that we can all tap into. Some of us can do it more naturally, and some of us need training, or some of us need tools. And, you mentioned, for example, the wishing machine. The wishing machine has proven to be incredibly powerful for people who want to have paranormal experiences. And it's a very weird, exotic technology that doesn't make a lot of sense scientifically speaking. It's a box that's been around over 100 years. It's got a weird circuit inside, and you can tune it for intentions. And people have traditionally used it because they want more money, or they want to, improve a relationship or whatever. I mean, you can use it for whatever you want. We started incorporating it into paranormal research, and we found that even if this is some kind of a placebo effect, it operates incredibly well. I mean, if you're about to go do an investigation and you take one of these mind-powered machines and you put it down in front of an operator, and you give them a map or a diagram of the location that you're about to investigate, and you tell them where you're going to set up, your equipment, you can actually tune these machines, and we have tested this out and kept track of it statistically. You can improve your odds over 75% of picking up something paranormal by taking a person and having them sit down and tune their intention through a wishing machine. And so this, I think, ties nicely into this Tulpa issue,
right?
That I know Phil is so intrigued by.
Okay.
Well, the one thing
take it away, Phil.
Intention. Isn't somebody more likely to have paranormal experiences if they're open to it and they intend to do it? I'm not saying this right, but rather than somebody who's skeptical, aren't you automatically more likely to have paranormal experiences if you're open to that and say, yes, there is such a thing, these weird things do go on in the world, then people... there's somebody that says, I don't believe this stuff, or I have my doubts.
Yeah, well, not only are you more inclined to have these experiences, but you're more inclined to recognize them when they occur. It may be that people who have a very, doubting sort of attitude about all this do, in fact, experience the paranormal quite often, but they just don't even see it. Because it's not a part of their belief system, and it's easier for them to dismiss it as being something else. I wondered, for example, after I wrote my book called Pet Ghosts, Animal Encounters from Beyond the Grave, I started thinking about how often we might actually see ghostly animals, and how would we know the difference in many cases between a ghost animal and a normal animal. Because we know that not all ghosts are glowing with a misty haze around the edges. Some of these ghosts look very, very solid when you see them, especially during daytime. Yeah. And if you see a ghost of a person, it might be a little easier to recognize because you can look at how that person is dressed or how it's interacting with the environment and whether or not it looks out of place. But we might see ghost animals all the time and not even realize it. And so that's just one simple example of how there may be a lot of people out there who are seeing things that are ghostly that a trained, open-minded person would recognize. But
actually, sorry to interrupt, Josh, but Ghost Call just mentioned in chat a great comment here. A good question for you. Could it be where dimensions are converging and we are seeing people from another dimension as ghosts?
Oh, yeah, I think that happens frequently. Here I am in the Bermuda Triangle, for example, and I'm talking a lot about what I call interdimensional weather. And so what I mean by that is you might be able to go to, Oklahoma most of the year and have a perfectly beautiful picnic. But once in a while, the conditions in Oklahoma line up just perfectly, and you get these amazing organized tornadoes that go whipping through there and destroy everything. And so we know that the dimensions around us are flexible. In fact, it's very difficult for us to even imagine what the other dimensions are, but mathematically we know they exist. And we also know that all conditions in the universe are in a state of flux because we have space weather that's affecting how things are being sort of transformed from physical to gas and energy and plasmas and whatnot. So I believe there are times, especially at places like here in the Bermuda Triangle, where you have this sort of strange alignment between the energy being discharged from the Earth and rays that are coming from outer space, and all of it syncs up in a manner to create this sort of interdimensional hurricane or tornado, and for a little while it bends and blurs that lens between our place and some other place, and we are able to experience each other. These dimensions are able to interact to some extent that is not usually possible, and during those periods of time it might be that one slips into the other dimension and of course vanishes and gets lost in some portal.
Wow. It boggles the mind because you have all of this unknown, and it seems like there's so many things to explain it, but yet it can't be explained. You know, we
Yeah, and of course we come back to this question of sort of, what is it that meets the burden of proof? I mean, like, this is a much easier question to address when it comes to extraterrestrial technology, because if and in fact, I have an interesting video on my website that shows a piece of debris that a man found near the Roswell crash site. And we took that debris and put it in an electrostatic field, and it's a little sliver of metal. And you see in the video, this metal just stands right up and goes spinning around. It's the craziest looking thing. And we've done lots of tests on that, and we still have lots to do. But the point is, if you retrieve some type of a craft, you can compare that to technology that is known. Or if you find a little alien body, you can see if the DNA is not in the catalogs. Same thing with Bigfoot. If you find some kind of weird creature, well, you can just do a DNA test. The ghostly stuff is much more challenging because, energy is something that can take so many different forms. And it's almost like taking the smoke from a cigar and trying to reassemble it into a cigar. How do you do that? And so it's not just a matter of understanding what we're seeing. It's a matter of understanding what do we do about that once we understand it in order to put it in a bottle and study it. And this is taking our imagination and our thinking in brand new directions.
Oh, this is...
Well, I think, too, that's part of it with us, that, we investigate the paranormal and everything, but these things happen when they want to happen. We can't control it. So you never know when something's going to pop up. So what's causing it? Do you see an apparition? Is it something in your mind that's causing that to happen? When you hear footsteps on the floor, is that the spirit hearing those footsteps because he's used to hearing those when he walked? And you're just picking that up? And that's why you hear it, maybe somebody else doesn't? That's the thing to me that's so, with the paranormal, that's frustrating.
Yeah,
it's like they got the upper hand.
I was doing a conference, and this was right after I published How to Hunt Ghosts. And this man came up to me, and he said, I am blind. I've never had sight, but I can see ghosts. And he said, how can blind people see ghosts? And I don't think I'd ever been asked that question before that day. And so I started talking to him a lot about his experiences and what he was perceiving when he said he could see ghosts. And over the years, I've corresponded with a lot of other people who are blind who have said that they can see ghosts. That's the one thing that they can see. And so when you start looking into questions like this, it almost takes you into the dream state question. For example, I am an extremely vivid dreamer. Every single night I have incredibly clear, realistic dreams. Occasionally, I lucid dream, in which I realize that I'm dreaming and I can go in and I can control the experience. But regardless of that, when I'm dreaming, I find that my dreams seem to be a combination of two things. They're a combination of certain things that I can explain. Like, for example, maybe if I'm dreaming about snakes, well, it's because I was watching Animal Planet before I went to bed, and there were snakes on it. Right. But then those snakes might be in an environment which is completely fantastic to me that I can't place in terms of anything that could be generated by my mind and my imagination. And I think with ghostly phenomena, we have a similar situation where it's a combo of what's out there and what's coming from within. And you're right, Phil. It's an even more difficult philosophical question at that point.
It's a never-ending battle, and that's what I love about the field. It is. It's never-ending. Are we going to find an answer? Should we? I guess that's the question. More coming up. We've got your questions from chat. We're going to ask those to Josh here in just a bit. Be sure and check out his website, Joshua P. Warren more when we come back. Stay tuned. You're listening to Haunted Voices Radio returns right here. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. We'll be right back.
You're listening to WGOG Digital Broadcasting.
I spend a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain, sleet, and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. In 05, I helped you get out of a ditch. Yeah, I know I'm a bit rusty, and sadly in 09, it was sparks from me, your handy chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Sparks from dragging chains can start a wildfire. Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
A paranormal investigator who's refused every TV show offered, except for Divorce Court, Worst Cooks in America, and To Catch a Predator. It's Todd Bates with Phil Roll on Haunted Voices Radio.
Question. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? And would you seat them in a car seat that's not the correct one? Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. More info at safercar.gov/the right seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm gonna keep ticking, but no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
48 minutes past the hour. We are in the last leg of the program. This debut return has flown by. We've had such a great time. Definitely want to thank once again our special guest for tonight, Matthew Schultz, Para-Explorer Project. Nicole Strickland, we're going to get her back. Don't worry, tech difficulties, it happens. And of course, we're still speaking with the one and only Joshua P. Warren, joshuapwarren.com. Check out his website. He's got all kinds of great things going on. This guy is crazy busy. And what we're going to do here for the next 10 minutes, well, we're going to take some of your questions here, and Phil and Josh were discussing some tulpas here. But before we get back into that, we've got a question here from chat. Elvis. Now, I don't know if it's a real Elvis, guys. It's Elvis. He's asking from chat, how many pet spirits have you actually seen, Joshua?
Well, with my own naked eyes, I think I may have seen only 2 or 3, and those were just pets that I've owned. Mm-hmm. And that's because that I grew up on a farm, and so I was around animals. Pets is a very loose term for me. I didn't name the book Pet Ghost. The publisher decided to call it Pet Ghost because I guess it sounded a little bit cuter, but my book is really just about non-human apparitions and animals in general. And so we get into dinosaur ghosts and even insect ghosts and all kinds of weird stuff. So I've seen dogs and cats, basically, and it was the death of a particular dog that really got me interested in this because I was able to document it fairly well. Mm-hmm. But now on my website, if you go to the Gallery of the Strange that I mentioned, I actually have some pictures of animal ghosts there. There's a horse ghost. from South Carolina. I've got some. They're either dinosaur ghosts or some kind of weird interdimensional dragon-looking creatures. I mean, I've got some wild stuff there that has been captured on film.
Well, they've got to see these in your book, Pet Ghosts, because, I mean, you had them in it. That's where I saw, I mean, the horse. I remember seeing the horse ghost. That's a phenomenal capture right there. I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's really eerie that these things could even be captured. I mean, and ironically, Josh, that was my first EVP capture was out of a horse. So I know that the animal realm, the spirit realm, they have their own realm there. But like you, I think there's a personal attachment to them. The emotion when you lose a pet, it's right there. So it may be some kind of connection, some kind of interstellar connection like that. I don't know. But what we have here is Nicole from chat asking, do you think that tulpas can account for some of the negative / malevolent energy that are often perceived as being demonic?
Oh, sure. There is no doubt that tulpas can come across that way. I did just a fantastic experiment that I recommend to you and all of the listeners because it's so simple but so telling, and I'll try to make this short. I did this experiment first just a few years ago. I have a museum in Asheville, North Carolina called the Asheville Mystery Museum, and that's where my laboratory is. And I did a workshop there. I made it available to 10 people, and I said, we're going to try to create a tulpa. And so basically what I did was take one person and sequester that person, so to speak. I put that person away in a private place where he or she could not see what the rest of us were doing. And then I would go by myself into an adjoining room and place an object on a table. So that object could be, say, a roll of shipping tape, or it could just be a cardboard box or whatever. And then I would go in and ask the remaining 9 people to go one by one into that room and look at that object, and then we would remove that object and have them go back in and just imagine that object being there even when it was not there and try to burn the visual image of that thing into that spot. So we all did this. It took about an hour and a half, and then when we were all done, we took the person who was sequestered out and said, now you go into that room where we tried to burn an image of this object, and then you come back and tell us. And every single time we did this, the person who went in there was able to describe the object with uncanny detail. I mean, it gives me chills right now. It's one of those things you had to be there, but to know that there was no other way they could tell what this was a simple experiment that took us a short period of time to burn an imprint into the environment that another person could see and describe. So can you imagine when some evil person does some kind of a terrifying or horrific thing, the type of tulpa that may either intentionally or unintentionally be burned into the environment that would certainly be perceived as something demonic by the average person.
And, that makes so much sense. Look at the guy that walked in, no emotion, into that church and shot the people, the racist shooting, something like that. That cannot be human. He had no conscience, no emotion.
Oh, yeah, and in fact, you can even look at pictures of people like that, and their eyes just have blackness.
There's no soul.
Yeah, and so that would, what's the difference between that and the behavior of a demon, right?
I mean, it's like Phil with a hangover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no,
the thing with the tulpas that freaked me out was I remember a long time ago I was reading about Alexander David Neal creating the tulpa that looked like a little friendly monk, and that gradually it started to change its appearance on its own. It started to look more slim and more sinister, and it started to kind of take on a life of its own, and she lost control of it. That's what's scary to me, messing with something like that it can actually start to break away from you and become what it wants, which might not be very nice.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that is often what happens. I mean, the Philip experiment, which was done in the 1970s by Canadian researchers, achieved the same result. I mean, they sat down and decided to create this medieval warrior, and then when they finally manifested it, they realized, oh, maybe we shouldn't have created a butt-kicking medieval warrior because he started attacking them and throwing things at them and slamming them against the wall. So that is what often goes wrong. And in fact, I mentioned off the air that in 2012, Warner Brothers released a major motion picture called The Apparition, and it is based on the Philip experiment and the idea that some college students get together and they're reckless and they create a tulpa, and it turns out to be an evil thing that starts attacking them. And they hired me and my team. They hired me to be a consultant because they wanted to ask me questions about tulpas, and then but to add to it, they actually filmed some with me and my team in our laboratory doing experiments trying to create tulpas, and you can find those on the Blu-ray or the Blu-ray as the bonus material. And so when we did those experiments, the camera crew stuck around for like a couple hours and nothing happened. And I wish they'd stuck around for a couple days, because about 2 days later, that's when this thing actually appeared. And I actually saw that one, and it was a big, tall, dark, shadowy form. I heard it come walking down the stairs from the upstairs to the downstairs. And I thought it was one of my buddies named Forrest, who's a big guy, trying to play a joke on me. And when I realized that I was alone with this thing, it was scary. Yeah. And it doesn't look like, when you see a tulpa like that, you don't feel like this is something that you're in control of anymore. It seems like it's got its own mind at that point.
Well, that was the thing with this Alexander David Neal, that this thing started to take people in the little village in Tibet where she was staying, started to see this stranger walking through, and it was this tulpa. And she thought, that's it, it's starting to get away. And she had monks and everything else try to train her and help her to get rid of it by just getting it out of her mind, but it fought back. She'd wake up in the middle of the night, and it's standing there looking at her. It's fighting back.
But that's
so scary. That's what's creating something like that might get away from you.
That's what life's all about. And this is amazing. This show has been phenomenal. Thank you so much, Josh. What I want you to do, get out real quick. Your links, anything you have coming up, let people know you've got some courses here you're teaching now, my friend. Get it out there.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, it is the new year, and so I have something on my homepage I think everybody will like. It's called a free good luck charm, and this is not a joke. You can go right now to joshuapwarren.com, scroll down the homepage, click the link to learn what that's about. And yes, for the first time and the only time, I'm actually going to teach some online courses, live interactive courses in paranormal investigation. That's coming up in a couple of weeks. And so I'm taking enrollment right now, and any of your listeners who go and sign up right now can actually get a discount on those. So yeah, please go to joshuapwarren.com. There is no period after the P. Check out the Gallery of the Strange. Watch the Wishing Machine video. You could spend like 3 hours digging around there, and I look forward to hearing from your listeners after they do.
Oh, they are on their way. They are on their way. This is amazing. Joshua, thank you so very much for taking time out of your busy schedule, blessing us here with your presence. We love having you. We're definitely going to get you back on here again. We've got some Bermuda Triangle discussion coming up here. We're definitely going to have you as a part of that. That's coming up. Joshua, thank you so much for coming on. And
way too fast.
Oh, of course.
Well, congratulations again, and best of luck with the show. Thanks, guys. Talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Josh. Bye-bye now. Okay. Joshua P. Warren, folks. JoshuaPWarren.com. Filibuster. My goodness. That's it. That's it, my friend.
We did okay.
We are good. All right. Now, everybody be sure to tune in next week. Special guest. Roswell expert Stanton Friedman, nuclear physicist, going to be joining us here, telling you about Roswell, what happened back in the 50s. Second hour, we're going to be discussing skepticism with none other than publisher of Skeptic magazine, Mr. Michael Shermer is going to be joining us second hour. Join us in chat. Share this show with your friends. If you guys like it, let them know about it. Spread the word. Have everybody join us in chat. HauntedVoices.com. we love you in there. Phil and I get in there. We interact the best we can. Want to thank each and every one of you for turning out for the return show of Haunted Voices here. Until next week, Filibuster, what do you think?
Oh, I can't wait till next week.
Next week, join us same time, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 6 Pacific. The next live show this week is going to be Just Rita, Thursday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Have an amazing night, folks. Happy New Year to you.
Good night, everybody.